So Andrew, we've got the new corporate plan through to 2020. What does it say? What are the main challenges and opportunities for the council over the next 5 years?
Well, Stephen, following the general election result, if there was any doubt about the financial challenges facing local government, those doubts are now gone. We've got clarity about the challenge in terms of resource reductions that we can expect to see through to 2020. I think the most important thing in many ways is to have a plan. We think about those challenges, that we work carefully with our residents, and with our suppliers and with our staff to explain what's going on and to plan for how we're going to meet those challenges. The council has got to make reductions in our spending. Those are going to be difficult decisions, but there are some things that we're going to need to hold on to as we do that. Firstly, although in many respects a reduction in government grant is extremely difficult and challenging, there are some opportunities that come along with that. Effectively, by the end of this period, we're likely to be either very little government grant or no government grant at all. So all of our income will be generated locally through council tax and business rates, fees and charges, and any money that we can make by being more entrepreneurial. In that context, growth is absolutely fundamental to how we're going to meet the challenges. Barnet is a very successful place where people want to come and live. We've got one of the biggest house building programs in London. We've got big infrastructure plans that go alongside that. We've got plans to expand our schools to meet the growing demand for school places. All of that can bring income, prosperity into the borough. We can generate more local taxation revenues. We can look at our property portfolio and try and make sure that we can build revenue in the long run. That we make difficult decisions, that we are fair about that we balance the interests of the different sections of our community, different interests in our community. It's very important that we think about that and we understand what we're doing from a fairness perspective. Our residents are going to need maybe to do some things more for themselves. So if we can build strong and resilient communities, if we can have a vibrant voluntary sector, if we can get people to want to support their own local areas, their own parks, for example, their own libraries, possibly, then there are opportunities for residents to step up and do a bit more as the council is able to do slightly less.
How do we balance the sort of the opportunities for growth against the need to make sure that Barnet continues to be a green, attractive borough?
Yeah, I mean that's a big challenge. It's absolutely clear that for our growth to be successful, for us to make the most of that, then that needs to be done with support from everyone who lives in Barnet, the long-standing residents as well as the newly arrived residents, and that really is probably the council's biggest challenge. You know, if growth is part of the answer to the challenges that we face, then how are we going to help that growth to be growth which goes with the grain of Barnet, the evolution of Barnet as a modern suburb, to make sure that all the things that residents value most are protected in that change. Having said that, of course, Barnet, although it's now the most populous borough, is also a very big place. So there are opportunities to develop in ways which will not mean that the development is over intense or the densities are too high. So there are still plenty of opportunities to grow.
Yeah. How do you see sort of Barnet's role in sort of the wider growth of London and sort of the region more generally? Because London's going to continue to grow, isn't it?
Yes, I mean I think this goes back to the growth agenda for us, and of course that is all about London. It starts with London's role as a successful leading world city. The London economy is growing very strongly. We're seeing the benefit of that. We're also seeing the strains, of course, on the housing market. Yeah. But for Barnet to be successful, we've really got to be clear that we are part of London, and we are one of the most successful parts of that successful world city. That means that we need to work not only within the borough, we need to work with our partners in the West London Alliance, because that's where our labour market exists, that's where a lot of our infrastructure partnership requirements will come from, that's where our housing demand will be met. So working in that West London Alliance is going to be important, and also in the debate about London and London's devolution. Again, we want to be absolutely central in that debate.
All of the public sector faces the same financial challenges as the local authority. What are we doing to work more effectively, more closely in collaboration with our public sector partners in the borough?
We work very well with our partners in the borough, but we need to go beyond that. We need to do much more. The amount of public service expenditure in Barnet in total is significantly more than that which goes through the council. But as you say, all of that expenditure is likely to be on an overall downward trajectory. So it's really important that we get the best from that spend, and by not only sitting down in partnership meetings, but also by actually commissioning with our partners, we can make sure that the money that's coming into Barnet is used to best effect in providing public services. Obviously, particular challenges around health. We know that for health and social care to work well together, that requires us to have more integration locally. So we'll work hard with the health commissioners locally to achieve that. We also know that there's going to be big changes in how the welfare system works. So again, it's very important that we respond locally to those changes, and we work with Job Centre Plus locally to make sure that we are, wherever we can, helping people cope with those changes and helping people get into work, because that's normally the answer to the problems that arise.
We've got a good track record there, haven't we? We've got the Welfare Reform Task Force set up, which is based up in Barnet House. So that brings together housing officials, housing officers from the council. It brings together Job Centre Plus advisors, health advisors. Do you see that sort of model continuing? Because that reduces bureaucracy for the public sector. It provides a better service and good results. Yeah,
very much so. I mean, I think that's the model for future provision across a whole range of areas. Bringing together those teams locally has showed us that we can achieve better results. Challenges are going to get more difficult, but it's that sort of activity that will, I think, be part of the solution. Barnet will continue to thrive and grow in terms of its economic prosperity through this period. For most people, they will be successful, but for some who are low paid, in benefits, or out of work, then that's a big focus for us and our partners. We can get.
You talked about Barnet being a big borough. What are we doing around sort of investment in infrastructure? So we've got lots of road networks, we've got loads of schools, we've got lots of hospitals. We're doing lots of we're putting more money into those things, aren't we?
We are. So we know what are residents interested in. They're interested in Barnet, particularly in schools, in parks, but also in roads and pavements. We get, of course, a tremendous amount of interaction with residents on roads and pavements. It's a big challenge. You say Barnet is a big borough. We have made a major investment. Members have really prioritised roads and pavements in their capital programme planning. They put £50 million into the roads and pavements budget over the next few years. That's going to be front loaded so we can make a real impact quickly.
Barnet is often sort of criticised, perhaps, from in the media, sometimes in the national media, about being sort of an outsourcing authority. We call ourselves a commissioning council. It's not all about outsourcing, is it? So what does our commissioning council approach actually mean in practice?
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting. With criticism, we're quite happy to criticise. We get something wrong, no problem with that. We'll take that on the chin and fix it and try and do better next time. I think the comments about commissioning are interesting. I mean, I think we take the view, members here take the view that what matters most is the outcomes that we are delivering, and that matters even more when we're under financial pressure. So first and foremost, they want us to work with partners to integrate across public service barriers and to focus on outcomes. Now, who then delivers the service is another matter. There is no presumption about what type of organisation that should be, and I think what we try and do is explore those different options to try and work out what is the best placed organisation to deliver. Often that will be the local authority itself, but also on occasion will be other organisations. It could be private sector organisations, they could be joint ventures that we set up with private sector organisations.
Charities.
It could be charities, it could be voluntary sector organisations, it could be arm's length, wholly owned companies.
Sharing services?
Indeed, often it will be shared services. Services provided for us by another borough. We have two of those provided by Harrow in Barnet at the moment. So what commissioning means is simply finding the best provider and not having a presumption about what sort of organisation that should be.
As Chief Executive, what do you enjoy most about working for Barnet or being Chief Executive of Barnet?
Well, Barnet's a great place. I mean, it's a real privilege to be working as Chief Executive in a borough that is thriving. It's very popular. It's growing fast. It's very dynamic. It's changing quickly. I think the other thing that I most enjoy is really trying to broker some of the partnerships that I think are essential that we've been talking about. So, personal relationships matter a lot. We need to make sure that we get the most from our partners and our partnerships.
Yeah.
Also from our suppliers. We need everyone to actually be working together. We need to have common leadership, common values and common purpose across those organisations. But not only people who work for Barnet, people who work for other service delivery in the borough, that we all are able to give of our best and that we're motivated to deliver best possible quality of services for Barnet residents.
Thank you.